Something that I've realized over the years of running small businesses is that we, as small business owners, need to play the game of marketing to not be forgotten. Every holiday and pseudo holiday, the big brands come out swinging with their advertising budgets. If you're not ready to show up where you need to, you're going to be left languishing through another season. And through this realization, I found that a more consistent series of sales relevant to your industry is needed during the year. Even if you don't have the margins to offer something massive, a sale creates a sense of urgency and it gets customers taking action. This sounds great in theory, but how do you find the time to run all these marketing campaigns? You're doing a million other things for the business. You could hire somebody to do it for you, but of course, that's not always financially feasible. One thing that you can do, however, is save yourself 90% of the time and make it much more realistic by having ChatGPT do the work for you. Then you just have to follow the steps and execute the last 10%. So want to see how this is done? I want to show you how I got a 15x return on ad spend for a Mother's Day sale that I was running for my business using the help of ChatGPT. And I use large language model tools like ChatGPT and Claude more than any other apps or software in my workflows. Having a conversation with ChatGPT even helped me to fix an electrical issue by sharing some photos and asking questions. As somebody who knows nothing about electrical stuff, I thought it was mind-blowing and empowering that I was able to do this. So the more that I use these tools, the more value I see in them for small business owners for all sorts of business questions that we have. As long as you're open to being curious and thinking critically about the information that you get back, you can get a lot out of these LLMs. So with the value that it continues to bring me, I gave ChatGPT the task of running the marketing campaign for our Mother's Day sale this year. Now, it helps that I've got a lot of data from 6 years of sales experience in this business to feed into it for producing the best results. But you can still follow this process if you haven't been running your business that long. I think that this can help you with sales performance from the start, although you'll want to provide a lot more initial input for it to understand your brand and speak like your brand in the marketing content. So let's jump into ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you this conversation that I had for this Mother's Day sale and how it helped me get that 15x return on ad spend and those amazing results. So another power move that I like to use is having the paid version of ChatGPT. I use it so much that it's well worth it. It's for the $30 per month that it costs in Canadian dollars. It's well worth it because I use it for multiple businesses and I use it all the time. And also, I love making use of the project folders so that you can get more context specific on each brand. And that's something that I like using with the paid plan and also using the more powerful versions of ChatGPT, like the 3.0 that uses the advanced reasoning with the paid version. I use it a lot, so it's worth it without running into the caps on usage. So I kept my involvement in this conversation to a minimum, just making some copy adjustments that were needed and creative decisions. I didn't love the generic image suggestions that it came up with, so we used more of our stock photos and the best photography that we've known to perform the best for sales in the past. Once I had completed the conversation, which took under 10 minutes to get started, I set up the Facebook ads, the posts, and the emails as it suggested. So this is how it starts. All I did was ask ChatGPT to put together a campaign for Mother's Day. And so I told it what I was thinking based on past sales. I suggested that we do the 2 floats for $119, the float and massage gift card for $160, and then put together like an ultimate Mother's Day package for $189. And what it first spit out or spit back to me was creating some suggestions on, the time frame, and also just the initial idea that those were good, sales packages to put together. And I think the date was a little bit messed up initially, so I had to go back and fix that as far as the timeline based on when I initially started the conversation. That's something to be aware of, just with sometimes ChatGPT's ability to kind of figure out what day or what time it is when you're having these conversations. So it initially kind of framed the conversation with those sales items that we were going to do. Maybe you can suggest, based on your industry, have it come up with the pricing for the sales that would make sense. Or if you already know what you think you want to run or what would work well, just have it sort of base it off of that as well. Then I asked it to give me some on-brand name alternatives for the gift card packages. So it came up with a bunch of different ideas that I was then able to dial in and kind of figure out which ones I liked using. And then basically the third question, or the third prompt that I used, that then led to the majority of what I was going to work with, was asking it put together a campaign calendar for emails, social posts, and ads on Facebook and Instagram, as that's where we primarily run our ads and haven't had to make use of, TikTok ads or YouTube ads or anything like that necessarily for this business to perform really well for sales. So, and because our email list is already strong, that was another thing where a lot of sales come through emails. And so, keep in mind, depending on where you're at with your business, you may still need to grow your email list more before it becomes one of your more powerful tools for running sales and everything like that. So it gave me the full suggestion. I think, again, the dates were a little bit off. We were going to start running the campaign, I think, on April 29th, and it was going to go an extra day late just after. And then I believe these dates maybe were messed up or something like that, or initially, so I had to go in and tweak the dates a little bit. But other than that, the rest of sort of the content plan was really good for running this across a 2-week sales campaign for Mother's Day. At the end of it, it suggested all of the things that it could do next, and I just asked it to build out everything. And what it gave me was 4 emails to use for the campaign. I think I ended up using 3 of them, and kind of like these were very short emails, not the way we wanted them to run. So I just asked it, as we kind of went through the conversation, to make those more on brand, a bit longer, and have more context. And then the social captions, most of them worked pretty well, and we used them just as they were, other than just changing the dates to make it make more sense for the campaign. So it gave me, I think, 8 different posts, as well as a bunch of different ads and copy and headlines for the Facebook ads. I ended up using more so, it kind of set it up as 3 different ad campaigns. So one for the awareness or launch initially, then a secondary ad during sort of the main sales week, and then a final push. But I basically just ran it as a 2-week campaign without the sort of as conversion throughout the whole period. And then I added in sort of last minute a couple of the headlines and ad copy for the final push on the last couple of days. Now, it suggested that it could create a Canva ready template. I asked it to do that. It didn't really work, so I just kind of skipped over that. And then, like I said, that's where I went through and just kind of asked it to revise those Mother's Day emails to make them more on brand. We like them to be longer and more personal than the sort of initial suggestions that it came up with for the emails. And then it did a much better job, and I was able to sort of refine them from there. Like, this is an example of the length of the email. So a couple hundred words versus just 50 or 60 words. And then any of the posts or any of the ads that you also don't like, just go in and ask ChatGPT to reframe them, rewrite them. If you don't like the idea, just ask for different ideas for the content that you're going to post for the campaign. And basically, like I said, that conversation, I would jump in and kind of use it basically as the marketing manager for the campaign. And because it's all within this long chat, it has that context and awareness to make revisions to what it's already suggested that works and performs really well as you kind of tweak within that conversation. So that was basically all I needed to do to have this campaign run. So initially I spent about 10 minutes chatting with ChatGPT to figure out sort of the marketing campaign, get all of that mapped out. And then I spent about 2 hours, I'd say, setting up the ad campaign, scheduling social posts in bulk, and then revising and scheduling the emails in advance to go out. So this work would normally take a couple of days ahead of the campaign with continual work throughout a sales campaign. Essentially, it saved me several days worth of work, and also the cost of, somebody running your marketing campaign for you, which is going to be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So while I still monitored the results through the Mother's Day sale to make sure it was performing well, it was already doing a great job, and I didn't have to step in at that point to change anything. So for this campaign specifically, ad spend was $274. That was on Meta for Facebook and Instagram ads. That was all we did for the campaign, other than, running the emails, which cost us $0, and the work that I put into it, which compared to, hiring somebody else, was a minimal effort on my part to get this all kind of launched and going. So normally when I look at the sales results, I'm not a huge analytics person. I don't love doing it, but I know it's necessary for business and performance to kind of adjust, refine, and improve each time that we do a campaign. But I look at kind of the big picture, like the return on ad spend, what we spent on ads, what our total numbers for sales were. And ChatGPT is just much better at doing the deep dive into analytics than I am. So that is the next thing that it really shined with, in using some of the advanced reasoning, as well as giving it as much of the data as I felt comfortable to do. And your level of comfort with sharing it might be different, but whatever you can provide is going to help it reiterate and perform even better the next time you decide to run a campaign with the help of ChatGPT. So I just pulled all of the different gift card sales specific to Mother's Day during the time frame, and the total that netted, as well as looking at, the online ROAS that Meta recorded, but the total ROAS from all gift card sales. And then the third thing that I did was I pulled in all sales data, because, we had also a bunch of services booked during the sales period that were a result of the ads as well. So not just the gift card purchases, but sales during the period for those Mother's Day packages. And basically, ChatGPT gave me back this performance snapshot, what the numbers are telling us, and then things that we can do next time for even better wins. And then basically that's where I pulled in the full sales report so that it could look at some other things like other sales and gift cards that were done within store. And that's where we got more of the total ROAS, looking at it as being more like a 15x return than just a 10x return. Both are still amazing. To have a 15x return on ad spend, or even a 10x return on ad spend, is really amazing. But seeing that it was actually even better than that was really reaffirming too. And then I also shared things like the email campaigns, like the open rates of, having 70, 65% open rates, and click-through ratio being a little bit lower, but across, sort of a blast campaign, that tends to happen as people open one of them, but not all of them. And then basically it kind of gave me what the suggestions were for the next option or the next campaign that we could do. So it suggested something for Father's Day. I don't normally do Father's Day sales, and we didn't do one, but it kind of helped me figure out what we would do next for the summer slowdown and how we would kind of get through the summer months where it tends to be our slowest season. So basically this comes down to a two-pronged usage of ChatGPT to really help ramp up your small business marketing. Basically like having a super smart marketing director or manager for your business where you just have to execute, or even have somebody else on your team execute what it's already suggested. This is the much more expensive work if you're going to hire somebody to manage your marketing. And if you give it a little bit of context on your business, it does a fantastic job, and you're going to get, a higher return on ad spend because you're not paying out to somebody to manage your marketing campaigns as well. So don't sleep on the AI advantage for your small business. As small business owners, we're already wearing so many hats that it's impossible to be the best at them all. Hiring and retaining talented employees is tough. So where you can leverage other ways of getting things done, you should. AI tools like ChatGPT are getting better by the day, but they can already make a significant difference in your business. So the next time that you need a brainstorming buddy for marketing, sales, accounting, data analysis, or anything else you can imagine, try adding ChatGPT into the conversation. I hope that you found this video helpful and it gives you some inspiration on how you can make use of ChatGPT or other LLMs in your small business marketing. Let me know what you thought about running marketing campaigns and using this to help. And also, if you have any other questions around this topic or anything else using AI in marketing your small business, let me know in the comments and I will be happy to make more videos on it in the future.